Hey everybody, welcome back. I didn't mention last time, by the way, but Torrent Crater was actually Descara's pick. This one here gonna be Coercer's pick. It's for Game 2. Now, if you haven't seen Game 1, stop. But Descara did win in pretty convincing fashion right there. It just felt like he had control of the map pretty much the entire game, except for right in the opener. We'll see what Coercer does to try to respond to this, but he is, of course, playing against who I believe is the best player in the game at this point, so it's going to be difficult at any rate. Not easy. I always have very tough games against Descara, except for that one time I Blast Drone rushed him. I'm not going to do that this tournament, by the way. The one that's running right now, Card Cup 12. Blast Drone rushes are just nasty things. You know? It's like the epitome of vanilla, you know, where you have this like super broken strategy. But tasty water. Tasty wheat. But yeah, I mean, I consider myself like a fairly smart player, right? Probably not as much as like Tren, but you know, I think I have a good mind for the game. So when I play against Descara, I stop and I think about it for like 5 minutes or something, like, yeah, what do I want to do exactly here, you know, before we like play our match, and I still lose. I mean, sometimes I have beaten him before, obviously. It's not like I can only win using cheat tactics, but it's hard, man. I mean, this guy is really good. So I feel like mechanically he's quite good. Probably not as good as like A Game or Sparrow, but you add that with just like his incredible mind for the game. Yeah, it's hard to beat him. I remember back in the Artifact Cup days, actually, where Descara would always lose to A Game in the finals, and it was always funny because like they would get to where Descara was 2-0, and then A Game would win the next 3 games in a row and win the best of 5. And it was like, oh, poor Descara, but they had some great matches back then. Still watch them all on Magpie's channel. Good old Magpie. I wish he would come back. Descara, by the way, tossing things up just a little bit this time. He gets LAV Fabrication first, and he makes like 4 of them. And I think he knows he can take this fight, but he doesn't want to take any more damage than he has to. This is probably a bit of a choke with this LAV right here, getting chewed up a little bit. Because remember, this damage here is pretty much permanent for Descara, but not at all for Coercer. If he can back up and be safe, he's okay here. Artifact spawns. And Descara gonna pick it up. Obviously just going for that extraction in the beginning. So is Coercer, and I don't think either of these are gonna get stopped. There's enough, you know, there's enough Strikecraft out here to defend, not really to attack. Although, right as I say it, the LAVs start moving down, and they're kind of out of position right here. This is gonna be tricky, and they're too close to that dune. I think they're actually gonna get jumped on here. So this is looking really good for Coercer now. LAV and Sandskim armor is finished. I think Descara probably would not have gotten that tech if he didn't see his opponent had it, but I didn't see who got it first, so I guess it's kind of hard to say. You know, I would have kept jumping on those guys. I think he definitely will still kill this guy, but he probably could have killed both of them. But that's kind of small potatoes at this point. I don't believe Coercer lost any units. I guess he lost 1, but this is looking pretty good so far. Pretty good. Support crews are going to come back and hold the main so that the carrier can move out. That does result in a tiny little amount of eco loss, but not much. But Descara is going to be able to hold his base now. He's got like 5 LAVs here, so if they're by the support cruiser, there's no way this is going to get pushed. And the carrier obviously adds a pretty good bulwark against these sand skimmers. But it looks like Descara not interested in defending just yet. He's going to actually move out here, and I think it's because he wants to get that second extraction. And Coercer being a little bit slower with his base burner, he is not going to be able to win the fight over there. So unless he can take it with the sand skimmers, that's not going to happen for him. It doesn't look like he can, does it? He's actually got high ground here on the LAVs, which is nice, but still he's not going to be able to take that fight there just because of that range advantage. And you better back away. Oh, boy, you better back away from there right now. Well, he does still have high ground, but I think he's going to lose this fight. He might take out 2 LAVs here. These guys are surprisingly hard to kill. Does he have armor? Yeah, he does have 2 armor now. Not attacking the weakened guy as well is going to cost him. And Descara is going to take it. Straying from his typical use of AAVs here, he's actually getting a lot of upgrades for these LAVs. Looking like this is going to be his strategy now at this point. And beyond that, he's actually gotten railgun fabrication, but not AAV fabrication, which of course unlocks a lot of text that you would want, so he probably is going to get that at some point. But not yet. That poor probe just gets killed instantly. There's actually 2 base runners here to watch him. And a missile ship comes out for Coercer immediately. So you can tell he's a little paranoid here, right? Before he gets railgun fabrication, in fact. He also has gotten assault ship fabrication, which is interesting. So I don't know what Coercer is going for here, but he's used a lot of resources to get a whole lot of nothing so far. So I'm a little worried for him. But that missile ship there, that's definitely kind of a jerk reaction to, or a knee-jerk reaction to Descara's really good use of airplay last game, but you know, that's kind of a bad way to go unless you know your opponent does something literally every time. In fact, Descara has not gotten fighter and gunship fabrication. When he sees that missile ship, I'm sure he just won't. Or maybe he will and like manage to get value out of it anyway because he's Descara, but you know, we'll have to see. One base runner get killed off here. It's important to note too, those base runners are more expensive in the mod. They actually do cost RUs now. Scoreline now 2-1. Mag Accelerator coming out. Okay, that's probably a bad sign for Coercer, because that usually means that your opponent wants to push, right? Little barrage attempted there, but that's going to be on cooldown now. And I believe the cooldown for that was actually increased in the mod, although I'm not totally sure. But the Assault Railgun gets jumped on almost immediately. These LAVs are pretty nasty things at this point. And they can kill off these sand skimmers no problem, and then this base is going to be in trouble, but an assault ship pops actually at just the right time. I take it back. Looking like Descara going to have to leave here just before he can do any really serious damage, but that's definitely gonna make your hair stand on end if you're Coercer. You see how close that was. Descara is gonna boost out here and head back, although I think he should actually just boost onto this base runner, but to each their own. Now there's really good map vision actually for Coercer. He's seeing all of this with these high ground position scanners, which I really like actually. But map vision only means so much. I think Descara here coming in with these railguns, which he is now beginning to spam, I would say. I thought he was going to get a support cruiser and then move his carrier out. That's what it looked like when he got Mag Accelerator, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case just yet. The railguns here are going to start giving some grief to this base runner, as well as the LAVs coming in, joining the fight. And that is going to be dead base runner in no time. Damage 1 finishing now on the LAVs, and the railguns are already out to counter these assault ships here. Roby, no doubt, or I keep saying that, Coercer no doubt seeing now at this point, okay, it's not air. I'm in trouble here because I've got armor and I've got missile ships and he has railguns already. He does have railgun fabrication finished though, so he's going to start making that, and the siege cruiser, so his army is quite diverse. I'm not sure how well that's going to pan out for him, but definitely worth noting. Descara probably not wanting to fight this close to the assault ship. Well, you know, actually he can just take him out, can't he? Okay, yeah, this is gonna be... Oh, there's a choke here, though. Oh, that's a good barrage. Oh, but there's nothing to hold. Okay, yeah, never mind. Well, okay, so when Coercer finishes this siege cruiser here, there's a chance he could maybe, like, dunk all of the LAVs, but... It's a chance, you know? And I don't think it's gonna happen. This is looking pretty hairy now for Coercer. So siege cruiser finishes. Descara going to be a bit surprised. No barrage being used just yet, and that siege cruiser is actually just moving right out into the middle. And Descara sees his chance. He's just going to run in there, and I think he will actually be able to kill this off with the LAVs. Apparently siege cruisers have point defense. I didn't actually know that. Railguns do go down to that siege cruiser, and I'm not sure. I think the LAVs have it. It's close. Yeah, okay, the LAVs do have it. And that's pretty much all that Coercer had on the field gone now. Descara can just keep on 2 base here, no reason to expand. He's going to keep spamming those railguns, and that's going to be game before too long, I would expect. Carrying for Coercer has got quite a bit of power in it, actually, but I don't know. I don't think that's going to be too impactful. Armor 2 actually coming out now on the railguns as well. And since in the mod the damage of the carrier is more based on point defense than it used to be, that actually is a lot more impactful than you would think in this kind of a fight. So, missile battery whiffing a shot there against the LAV. Or the probe, that is, sorry. A lot of damage being done to that production cruiser, and you can tell Descara willing to sacrifice these guys just to keep the damage ticking so that the automatic regeneration can't begin. Railgun's getting up onto the high ground here, going to be continuing the attack. Oh, but they don't have vision anymore. This attack from Descara I really feel can't run out of steam, really, but it can take longer than it should. That's kind of what we're talking about at this point. Is the difference between winning in, 10 minutes and winning in 12. But production cruiser is going to go down here finally. What I meant about the healing, by the way, is that the production cruiser will start healing if it hasn't been shot at in the last like 2 seconds or something like that. So if you can just kind of like plink it a little bit, it won't regenerate. We don't usually see that come into play too much, but I feel like there's a lot of micro potential and just stopping your Gaussian opponent from regenerating at all. But not so with the carrier, mind you, but regeneration on power 1 is pretty slow. Fourth artifact gets scored actually for Descara, so you can almost just win on points at this point. Just look at the scorched earth over here, by the way. I love that effect, how like it remembers where all the explosions were, especially like in Company of Heroes. Oh my gosh, the way that like all these little crater holes get popped up and stuff like that too. It's just beautiful, you know what I mean? Like the whole map just gets destroyed, it feels like, especially when you have one of these really long games where you're sieging a point for a long time. But yeah, lots of husks left over here from Roby's side. But yeah, Descara having some trouble finishing off his opponent here, it would seem. Which is kind of funny. Production cruiser was rebuilt, in fact, so more railguns can be coming out now. And another siege cruiser. I don't know how he's got money for all this, but and Descara definitely making this take a bit longer than it should. He could actually move his carrier in there, and that's probably the way to finish this off faster, so just like make a sport cruiser and then head out. But he can also just win off the extraction, that's gonna be fine. Oh, hiccups. Yeah, no, he's definitely got this game in the bag, so. Heavy Vehicles Armor 3 finished now. And it is still a lot of railguns. So. You can see he's definitely prioritizing those siege cruisers. He just doesn't want his opponent to get up to like a critical mass or anything. Because that'd be a sad way to lose if like your opponent managed to get like 4 siege cruisers and then killed off all the railguns and pushed you back to your base. I mean, like at this point when a game is so in the bag, you really don't want to throw it that way. Ah, poor guy. He was like a commander or something, but he died, so not anymore. I feel Coercer had a really good early game this time, didn't he? Oh, hello, brother. Anyway, didn't turn out to be much for him though. Looks like he's not going to get to kill that carrier after all. This last artifact is going to extract, and that'll be the game. Unless he's got a cruise missile ready. No, it doesn't look like it. And that is going to be the end, 2-0 for Descara. So what we expected. But, I think Coercer did put on a pretty good fight in the early game this game, but didn't pan out too much. So, hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you in the upper bracket. And finally begin. Oh dear, I'm getting choked by Tarnarmour. It's not working though. I can still talk. Okay, now it's working. Nicely done. Oh, and that's definitely saying it.
It's not working. Okay, it's working.
Okay, it's working. Hope you enjoyed it. Catch you next time.